Often I find that folks, when they begin the process of trying to change their lives, they'll have expectations that often aren't manageable. So, what we're going to talk about first are how to manage those expectations and the basic parts of being successful. So, first things first, with wellness, this is an educational process. What that means is I'll be giving you tools and information. So, all that said, anytime you're working to make changes, you can only ever get as much as you put into it. Now, oftentimes, when people think about making changes, they really focus on the end. It is really necessary to keep your focus on the whole process. I like to think about life as drama and it ends in tragedy. So, in life, we are given many opportunities to live through a drama. There's always something happening, right? Someone's always struggling with something. Even in comedies, there's always tension. So, from my perspective, I think it's important to kind of focus on the meaning of that drama. You're going to have drama, enjoy the story, make it into an interesting story, be proud of your story. When you look back at life, there's going to be things that happened, right? And be proud of how you respond to those things that happened. Okay. So, that being said, one of the issues with change is our perception of time. That comes along with the idea of being a human being. I speak about human being because it's so important. Human is a noun. Being is a verb with a very interesting tense. It is a present tense moving into the future. And in this moment is when we have freedom. It's when we can make choices. It's when we can change our lives. That being said, we don't actually have the ability to change our past. We do have the ability to change how we think about our past. And we don't have the ability to be at our future yet. And one of the things I would encourage you to remember is when you get to the end of your story, you'll be in your deathbed and you won't really have time to appreciate it. So there's two Greek words that have to do with time, Kronos and Kairos. Now, we know the word Kronos in English is very common. It's from chronology. It is the linear sense of time, the literal sense of time. It is noon now, and an hour will be one. This is Kronos. I will live to 70 years old. That is Kronos. In Greek, they have another word for time, and it's Kairos, and it has to do with the quality of time. What is the meaning of time? Is it the right time? Is it the auspicious time? Often, I've seen people try to make changes in their lives, and it wasn't the right time. What that might mean is they haven't done the other bits of background work, or the facts of their life hasn't yet gotten to the point where it's ready to let them move forward. Perhaps there's other learning that needs to happen. I encourage you to consider what your intentions are and what your goals are. You create your big long-term goals and you set your intentions to move step by step. Later in another video, we'll talk about SMART goals and why they're important. One of the biggest problems we have as humans is struggling to figure out how to manage the power that we do have and to accept the limitations and the lack of power that we don't have. So what you'll often see is people trying to exert power over situations where they really don't have any, such as trying to control other people's behavior, such as trying to control the economy, right? Such as trying to control their physiological responses to different situations. Now, what you do have power over is how you choose to interact with other people, how you choose to use your time economically. It really takes a lot of work to discover where you do have power. Now, one of the things that I often like to talk about, again, with the notion of being a human being, is this idea that I've always held on to about acorns and oak trees. And the reason I say that is as a human being, we're always in a state of becoming. A oak tree and an acorn are the same thing. An acorn exists first, and then through the appropriate time, through the appropriate nurturing, through the appropriate needs being met, it grows into a mature oak tree. So later we'll talk about Maslow's hierarchy. But here's the point. An acorn needs to be planted in the right place, Kairos type thinking. And it needs to be watered at the right time. And it needs to have the right type of soil. It needs the right amount of light. Now, that all makes sense at face value. But what if you were told you were a redwood tree and you're actually an oak tree? You'll never be tall enough. You'll never be able to tolerate the water that's in a redwood's environment or the mistiness, right? The wrong type of animals will be around you. And furthermore, you'll probably always be lonely. The thing is, when you accept you're an oak tree, you will put yourself at a place where there are other oak trees and you will be comfortable. Additionally, you also have to accept the fact that you are an oak tree and you have to do the work to figure that out. It is not easy. And frankly, it's part of the entirety of our life. When people talk about midlife crises, one of the things that happens is they give up the stories of about who they are supposed to be in order to become who they are. Now, again, none of that's simple and none of that's easy.